Here we've got our Easyzone 25 solution, our most complete solution, where we can do a multi-zoning with ducted units, where we have one indoor unit for multiple zones. This, as we'll see in a minute, will be able to control also radiant elements. So this plenum comes specifically for the indoor unit that you have in your installation. If you visit our website, you can review the compatibility, okay? And it's a plug-and-play solution where we have incorporated already the gateway needed for that indoor unit. The actual neck of the indoor unit is considered. If you need the adapter, it comes in the box as well. And it comes to install directly onto the indoor unit and be able to place it into the false ceiling. Here we have our range of thermostats that we can consider with this installation, the blue face, think and lead thermostats. And as default with this installation, we have ionization, and for the control of ionization, we've got our AirQ sensor. Okay, this allows us to view as well the quality of the air of the stance where we've got the Easyzone 25 and act on that quality of air. If it's particles, we can use the ionization, but if it's, for example, CO2 and some of the volatile and organic components, we can use a heat recovery system or a ventilation system through the actual ductwork that we need for the air conditioning. So we can use on either side, we've got the entrance of that ducted ventilation system, and it would come through the same ductwork as we'll be using for the air conditioning. So additional from the main package of the plenum, which we can see here, that brings the AirQ sensor, it brings the cabling, it also has adhered to the actual plenum itself, the documentation needed. We can control other elements, okay? In this case, we can control underfloor heating or cooling. This can be done with our Valve-C module to control the actual valves of the zones, okay? With the temperature probe for the collector itself. The valves themselves, 220 volt valves, can be used. Any 220 volt valve can be used. Also, radiators. This allows us to control up to 10 radiators for 8 zones. These are thermostatic valve radiators, radiator controls. So this allows us to also use them as thermostats if we needed to in a bathroom, for example. If we're working with underfloor cooling or ceiling cooling, we have a dry module that activates a dehumidifier if needed. And the great benefit of this whole solution, of the Easyzone 25 solution, is if we've got underfloor heating, we've got radiators, we can control all of these different elements from one thermostat in each room. This is a huge benefit because it means that we can work in a combination with air and underfloor heating or radiators depending on the installation. We're going to view the details of the Easyzone 25. Firstly, we're going to see the mounts. Okay, when we do the installation, we need to make sure that this is mounted and supports the weight of the plenum, and we never provide that weight to the indoor unit. Then we have the ducted ventilation system. Right now it's got a protective shield that would be taken away in the case of using the ventilation or heat recovery. And we can view how that comes into the duct itself. So here we can see in detail, the recovery air or the ventilation air would come on the bottom of the damper itself. And here we can see the motor of the damper, okay? We have the control of the ionizer, which is for the improvement of air quality. And we have underneath the motor, okay? We also have the possibility of changing the maximum aperture and closure of the damper itself. That is explained in a video on our channel or in the manual of the Easyzone 25, okay? And what it does is it closes and opens the damper slightly to have a continuous airflow if needed. Here we're going to view the detail of the central control board of the Easyzone 25 solution. On the top right, we've got the power source, and then we've got the cabled motors of the motorized dampers. This comes already done from the factory. Then we have the gateway to the indoor unit that, as we've done the order on based on an indoor unit, that comes already installed and with the needed cables. Then we have the web server, in this case, to connect via Wi-Fi. here we have the 3 ports that allow us to connect the thermostats, the wired thermostats. This can be in a bus configuration or a star configuration. And finally, we have the bus CAN for communication between the different modules that we've got. This can be, like in the case of the AQ sensor in itself, the bus CAN we've got here. It's black in color. It's different from the other ones to be able to determine which one it is easily. But also, if we're talking about the underfloor heating module or the dry module for activation of a dehumidifier, okay, it would allow us to use this same bus cable communicated in a bus or star configuration. Here we've got our underfloor heating module. Okay, this is connected through the bus CAN cable to the central board and to the installation itself. Then on the left hand side we have the power source. Then we have all of the different valves that we can connect. Remember that we can do up to 20 valves with this output module, and we cable them in order, although we can afterwards assign different outputs to different zones if needed. Then after that we have the possibility of connecting through digital inputs a heat source or a circulating pump for the underfloor cooling or heating. And then finally, we would have the possibility of connecting a temperature probe to the water coming into the installation. This is primarily for underfloor cooling or ceiling cooling to help to protect against condensation, but we can also use it to measure the temperature in heating and be able to visualize it through the Airzone Cloud app. Once we've done the installation and we need to open the channel for the radiator thermostats, what we need to do is press the button on the valve C, and then on the thermostat itself, what we do is a long press when we've got it on off, and that will assign the zone 4. Previously we had the other zones assigned, and from here we can then manipulate the thermostat as well. Once we have done the setup of the installation for the Easyzone 25, what we're going to do next is the commissioning of the thermostats, or the configuration of the thermostats. So first we're going to select the language, in this case English, confirm. Then we're going to select the location, so in this case we're going to go to other, confirm, and then we confirm. The next screen we're going to see is to assign the zone. So each thermostat would be in a different zone. In this case it's the blue face thermostat, which we consider as the master thermostat, and we're going to associate it in this case to zone 1. Okay, once it's loaded, it's going to ask us if we want it to be a master thermostat or a zone thermostat. In this case we're going to choose the master thermostat. We confirm, and what we're going to do is associate the outputs where if we've got an underfloor heating, we would associate the outputs of that zone. In this case we confirm it as 1. We indicate that we want for cooling air, and if we want underfloor heating, underfloor cooling in this case, and then for heating if we want air and underfloor heating. Then we confirm. With this QR code we can link, or we can open the app on our mobile phone or tablet, and it would allow us to do additional configurations. When it asks us for basic function, we always leave it as off, okay, and we press end, okay. Then with regards to the Think thermostat, again it's very similar. We're going to select the language, so we go to English, we select the country, again we go to other, we confirm. Remember that the screen itself is not touch screen, we have to press the surroundings. Okay, so in this case we're searching for the open channel. The channel itself we can open from the master thermostat, from the central control board, or from the application itself. When we're working with wireless thermostats, we need to open the channel to be able to do that linking between the system and the thermostats themselves. So here we can find the button to be able to open the channel So if we can visualize, we've got just the green light. If we press it once, that opens the channel, okay, for a predetermined time. And then once we've done the linking of the thermostats, we can press it, or it would turn itself off on its own. The other two methods of doing the linking or opening of the channel is through the thermostats themselves, or via the Airzone Cloud app. Now we're going to show how to open the wireless channel for wireless thermostats from the Blueface thermostat. What we need to do is the option button, we long press. We're going to get the options of going as a system or as a zone. We press system, and then we have the wireless module, and we can open and close it as desired, okay? In this case, we're going to leave it open. Once we have the Blueface thermostat and we've opened the channel, then we would be able to link a Think thermostat. In the case we don't have a Blueface thermostat and only a Think thermostat, okay, we would need to open it either from the application or from the central control board. But once we have one thermostat linked, what we can do is we long press the Airzone button. We're going to get another screen. We let go, and then we long press again. And we go in as a system. In this case, we need to go to the next page, okay? And here we have radio channel. We press it, and it changes to close or open. And then that would be enough. We would press the Airzone button again. It would take us to the home screen, and it means that the channel would be either open or closed depending on how you configured it. It's very important that the location of the Think or any wireless thermostat is in the zone on the location where it's finally going to be, because we need to make sure that the signal is always above 30. We've already addressed the Blueface thermostat to zone 1, so automatically this shows us zone 2. We're going to confirm. Then we're going to associate output number 2. We confirm. Okay, when we're talking about air, in this case it would be cold, we can do it off or on, okay? And then if we have any advanced settings, we could do that now, or we could do it from the application. And remember, always the basic mode to leave it off. Okay, and then we arrive to the home screen. Finally, we are going to view our light thermostat. Remember that in the box of the thermostats, we get a little tool that helps us take the thermostats off the wall, okay, or off the mount. Behind the thermostats, or on the back face of the thermostats, we've got micro switches. We've got 8 micro switches. Remember that we can allow a maximum of 8 zones. In this case, we're going to associate it to zone 3. So we're going to activate the 3rd micro switch, okay? If this would be a battery powered or a wireless thermostat, what we do is we select the micro switch, then we add the battery. In this case, it's a wired, so once we've done the micro switch, what we do is we power it back on simply by positioning it back on its stand. It does 5 flashes to confirm that we've got a correct configuration, and that would be all of the thermostats configured. So what we're going to view now is the access of the installation through the Airzone Cloud app. We've already done the installation, we've done the commissioning through the Blueface and the other thermostats. Now we can access the installation. So we open the Airzone Cloud app. We've got various ways of accessing. This can be through Wi-Fi or through Blueface, through Web Server Hub. So what we can go to Configuration Wizard. We still do not have we have not created a site on our application, so that's what the process that we're going to do now. For that, we need to search devices. If we've got a Web Server Hub, we would have the information on the actual hub itself. If it's the internal web server, then we can access that information through the Blueface thermostat as we've done before. What we're going to visualize now is from the Blueface thermostat how to get the information with regards to the system and the MAC address. So we press the symbol of the little person, we would go to information and then to web server. And here we have all of the information with regards to the web server itself. In the case that you're talking to our technical support, they can ask you for this number at the bottom. In this case, we have here the installation. We've got the security pin to access. Okay, so this allows us to enter into the installation. In this case, what we want to do is we want to add the device. So we're going to go next, next, okay? And we don't want to assign it to a site that we already have. What we want to do is create a new site. In this case, what we're going to do is create the name of said site. So let's say we're going to call it Easyzone Test. Okay, location, for example, we can say London, UK. Then we can change the icon. In this case, we leave a house and we indicate that the type of site is a house. Finally, we can select into a range of colors. In this case, we change to blue and we finish. So that means that we've created through the web server access to the main page or the site. Another way of accessing the installation is if we access through Air Tools, okay? In this case, we can access directly through the Bluetooth device. Here we find the actual access point. Again, we would need to add the security pin. And we load into the installation through the Bluetooth, okay? In this case, we've got the 3 zones that we've created on the installation on an air, let's say, level, but it's indicating that we've got thermostatic heads that have not been assigned to zones. So what we can do is we can either include it into one of the existing zones, or we can create a new zone, for example, for a towel rack or a radiator in a hallway, in a bathroom, and so on. So what we can do is we can add a zone, for example, and we're going to say that it's the thermostatic head number 2 that we're going to link to the installation. And this is what it's doing, is it's linking to the zone, those thermostatic heads. Okay, and that would create zone 4. Finally, what we can achieve here is we have access to all of the information that we need in the installation, and if we go back to the main page, we've got it here, or we can go to our sites, okay, and access our installation from the app itself. We've got the 4 zones that we've created, the 3 zones of air and the one with the thermostatic valves, and then we have the AirQ sensor information here in itself. There are components of the installation as well that they are a plug-and-play system, where simply by connecting them to the bus CAN communication cable, they interact directly with the system, okay? We have the example of the AirQ sensor, okay? We have the possibility of the valve module, and down here we have the module for the underfloor heating. All of these different components that automatically, let's say, assigned to the system, we will be able to visualize in the Blueface thermostats, as we'll show you now. Once we've done the configuration of all of the thermostats, if we go to our master thermostat and we go to the little symbol of a person, if we go to information and devices, we can confirm all of the devices that are actually controlled or connected to our system. Okay, this allows us to make sure or confirm that everything that we have got installed is connected to the system and configured. By pressing out and the temperature gauge, we go back to the home screen. To finish this video, we would like to inform you as well that in the description of the video itself, as well as on our website on airzonecontrol.com, you'll be able to find additional information.